what's good? Game on, Wisconsin. This is Coast to Coast Packers. Free agency is a week old. We are inching closer to the draft. Former Packer players have fired shots at the organization. The mayor of Door County is coming back. We're going to dig into this and more on today's episode. I'm Bernie Bango, here with my PIC, Umar Desai. How you doing today, dude?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good, bro. I'm looking forward to the draft. We're like a little bit over 30 days out from the draft, man. And I'm hyped. I'm ready to go, man. I'm ready to pop. I'm ready to talk about stuff that's been going on. The guys that left, guys that coming back, Devondre Campbell, and all his crazy comments. I'm ready to get it going, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's what I have number one here on my notes. Let's get the drama done and out of the way. So Devondre Campbell drama, right?
Yeah.
Saying he was badly misused. When I did my own thing, year one, I was all pro. He talked trash on Joe Barry. Big freaking deal. Join the club, Devondre. We have been doing that for years. I think he felt hurt that we didn't want him to stick around, right? We didn't even ask him to take a pay cut. I like the dude. There are some things he said sometimes where I was like, yeah, well, whatever, dude. But he's with the 49ers now. I hope we get the chance to play them because it's going to get spicy. And but what are your thoughts and feelings, man, on this exit of Devondre Campbell and how that played out?
So it's funny, I think he kind of confirmed a lot of things about how we felt when it came to Joe Barry, right? It's funny, though. He's like, if I listened to what they were telling me to do my first year, I would never have made All-Pro. I don't know how true that is, but all I know is that he kind of confirmed a lot of things that we were thinking. He said a lot of stuff that seemed backwards and forwards. He seemed like he was talking out both sides of his neck, when in 1 second he's saying that the whole year – I remember listening to his interviews and things he would say – where he was very defensive of the execution of the plan, and he was I take that back. He was very defensive of the scheme and that they need to execute better. And now he's coming through and saying all this other stuff where it's completely opposite of what he's been saying all year. Same guy that was saying that he's playing through a lot of injuries, which we knew he was. He had hurt his shoulder. He had multiple high ankle sprains. So I commend him for trying to play through those things. But at the end of the day, he came out and even said, not saying he kind of quit on the team, but he didn't. He was like, I'm not going to play through injury, which I get that. But when you're in after week 2 or 3, everyone's hurt, man. And all I got to say is that I appreciate him shining light on letting us know what we were already thinking. It's just funny that he was one of the biggest defenders of Joe Barry throughout the year. And I just can't wait to see, he had some really cool things to say about Quay and how Quay is going to really be successful in this defense that we have with Hafley. So I thought that was cool. One of my conspiracy theories that I throw out is that in 2021, Oren Burks was a third-string, fourth-string linebacker for us, played on special teams, right? He was the main culprit in the free rusher coming through and blocking Borquez's punt that eventually went for a touchdown, okay? Not even 2.5 months later, when the new season started, that dude signed with the Niners. Boom. Okay. Here we go again. Fast forward a few years. You got Devondre Campbell with a clear shot on Purdy. Remember that? It was second down and 8. Slow steps it, doesn't do what he needs to do. And then, Purdy eventually, I think he threw an incomplete pass, but still, they're great try to make a sack and put him in a long and distance situation, which wouldn't have made a difference with Joe Barry, honestly. But a few months later, he also signs with the Niners. So I don't know if there's anything there. I know I might be just talking crazy right now. But at the end of the day, he's gone there. The Niners, hopefully he can turn his career around. It just seems like the guy always had a way of saying that it was always everybody else's fault. He said that the Cardinals and the Falcons misused him. And then I guess him coming here, going rogue in essence, is the only reason why he got All-Pro, which doesn't jive, man. So more power to him. His wife was coming at me too in some of my comments. I'm just like, look, I wasn't saying anything your man didn't say. I'm literally just repeating what he said. And you getting mad that he was misused. My man got a 5-year, $50 million contract for being misused. So I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? Come on now. It is what it is, man. It is. Hey, Godspeed. Good luck. Hope you killed in the Niners. Not really, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel it there. I hope he stays healthy. I never wish harm on anyone,
Mm-mm.
but I'm a Packers fan, man. I want the freaking Niners to lose. Like
Every single game. Every
yeah,
single game, man.
but hey, since we're talking linebackers here,
Mhm.
Packers need an upgrade on an off the ball linebacker.
Agreed.
We just need depth at the linebacker position overall, right? Quay Walker, I think he had like a 58.5 PFF grade in 2023. Isaiah McDuffie has 9 career starts. I think 8 of those were this year. Christian Welch, a special teams player, has yet to start a game in his career. And then Christian Young, I think, is a practice squad guy that has yet to record an NFL stat in his career. So, I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at, I think, right now in off-the-ball linebackers. So, what are we gonna do here, man? Like, right? We have money to spend that we're not looking like we're gonna spend, and I have a theory about that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to go to the draft here, right? Like to address this shortage of linebackers now.
I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, like I think the guys that we have, like Isaiah McDuffie, even though he's had experience, but he is probably the most experienced player on this team when it comes to Jeff Hafley's defense, right? I mean, he played with him at Boston College. So if anybody's going to have a leg up when it comes to knowing the scheme, he is, right? Quay, something that Devondre Campbell said was that he's a green light kind of player. You can't have him thinking too much. You just got to let him just go, right? And if you remember when he was in that BCS championship game against Alabama, and Nakobe Dean was gaining his ass, and he was kind of like, dude, just go. Like, he was like yelling at him for like making like simple mistakes. And the next thing you know, Quay was just taking over the game. Right. Yeah. So I really am looking forward to seeing what those two guys can do in this new defense. But you're right, though. Like, there are some guys out there. A lot of the guys I wanted. I was thinking because of the Anthony Campanelli hiring that we have as a linebacker coach that we're going to bring in Jerome Baker. So that not happening must mean that, he may or may not have said something good about. Who knows? Like, we don't know that, but it just seems like the writing was on the wall for him to come in. So him not coming in, it is what it is, right? But Isaiah Simmons is still out there, who, a former 7th overall pick, who is an absolute athletic beast, who's never really had a true position coming out of Clemson. He's always been like just everywhere. He's played like hundreds and hundreds of snaps at every position, right? And when he was at the Giants, I mean, he wasn't bad, but he was like average, right? I mean, I feel like a guy like him is someone that Hafley could use, because he has like the speed and athletic ability to have a lot of range, and you can really put him anywhere on the field. So there's options out there, but yeah, there's some guys in this draft that people have said that the off the line linebackers are not the greatest, but there's some guys like Edgerrin Cooper, Cooper out of Texas A&M. You have Cedric Gray out of North Carolina, and then of course there's Peyton Wilson out of
NC State.
NC State, thank you. Where I like those guys, and I would rank them in that way. And I probably did because I'm a big SEC guy, so of course I'm going to go Cooper first, right? But then the other two guys, Gray would be a later round addition, and then Peyton Wilson. I mean, he was the top linebacker in the nation. He won the top linebacker award this year. But the problem is he comes with a lot of injuries, and do we really want to kind of go down that road again, right? So I'm really looking forward to seeing like how we decide to supplement that, because we've, unless we re-sign Eric Wilson, which I'm really hoping we do, because the Niners were looking at him. And it's like, if it ain't the Niners, it's the damn Vikings always biting our players, man. Everyone's just taking I can never understand it, but it's fine though. You know what, the Niners, I feel like, are gonna fall off like hell anyways. They've lost a lot of good talent, and they just don't have the horses in the stables to kind of back up. Maybe they'll draft well, but they just lost. They just went down in the 4th round and they lost their 5th round pick for next year because they can't get their finances right when it comes to their cap. So, I'm saying, like, it's one of those things where the way Goody has kind of backfilled his position with the guys he's brought in, he really doesn't have to. They don't really draft for like need. They always draft for BPA, best player available. I really feel like we're going to be in that kind of like world this time around. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm big on Edgerrin Cooper out of Texas A&M. I like that guy. I like Peyton Wilson's highlight reel, but
Yeah.
he's got a track record of injuries,
Yep.
and I'm sort of over the injury plagued players. So that's something that we'd have to look out for. But we definitely got to do something. You hope we bring in maybe somebody from a vet minimum in, or we bring in. Got to draft Edgerrin Cooper, right? With us, like signing Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs, right? Like maybe running back isn't as big as a priority, and we use that to make sure we get the linebacker we want.
You made a comment about that. Remember, you said we brought back the mayor of Door County, right? And
yeah,
I have to admit, like, he took less money to come back. And if there's anybody on this team that carries the G, if it wasn't Aaron Jones, I'm still bitter about that from a sadness perspective. It's AJ Dillon, man. I mean, he met his wife is from Green Bay. He met his wife there. He's literally like the mayor of Door County, and he had an opportunity to go to the Cowboys. He had an opportunity to go to, oh man, that was another team. Those two teams, but Cowboys was one of them, and they were offering him more money. He decided to come back, and he's literally on a deal that doesn't guarantee him a 53, like a spot on the 53. Like he literally could get cut at final cutdowns if he doesn't show up and compete. And supposedly the Packers are very high on Emmanuel Wilson. And this linebacker class, when it comes to, they really do like him. But the truth is, like, when it comes to this, like, running back class, there's some talent there, but they all have, like, some kind of, like, just, like, red flag or just some, like, you're not really sure. And so you're going to have to take a shot on a guy on day 2, day 3, like, the Jalen Wrights or the Jonathan Brooks or, our Wisconsin finest, Braylon Allen, or Mr. Michigan himself, Blake Corum, right? There's a lot of those guys out there, but it's going to be fun to see how we do it because, man, like I said, the way they've kind of like gone about this free agency, they spent where they need to spend, and then now they have an opportunity to – there's some pieces out there, right? And remember, they picked up Devondre Campbell like in June right after training camp, and he stepped in and killed it, right? So we could have that happen again. Who knows? They do say team building is, especially when it comes to free agency, it's a 365 kind of thing. 24/7. What is this? 24/7, 365. Right. So definitely looking to see what they're looking in. I'm always looking to see who they bring in, and they haven't really brought anyone yet for a linebacker. So we'll see who kind of does get a pop our interest. I'm gonna double check right now just to make sure.
Definitely, for sure. And since we're on that topic, I'm pumped that Dillon is back. Quadzilla. You love guys that are so selfless and they put the organization first. But a question that popped up in my mind is like, how does he pair up with Josh Jacobs, right? Like with Dillon and Jones, they seem to have such varying like running styles and skills they brought to the offense that they say change of pace, is what they like to use the term as. Dillon and Jacobs, do they have that 1-2 punch? Do they have like the thunder and lightning ability, the smash and dash, whatever you want to refer to it as? Do they have that dynamic, do they have those dynamic abilities where it's just like that'll be interesting to see.
It's one thing that you liked about like Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon was the lightning and thunder kind of combination, right? And with Jacobs and Dillon and Wilson, it's more like thunder.
Yeah.
Right? And watching like I 2 years ago, man, Josh Jacobs was the king of the rushing. He was Mr. King himself, led the league in rushing and had like almost 1,800 yards from scrimmage. I mean, they are over 1,800 yards from scrimmage. The guy's a beast. And with our offense line, with our offensive scheme with Matt LaFleur and then Jordan Love. I mean, one thing I want to talk about is both McKinney and Jacobs. There was something that they both said where they were like, one of the main reasons why they came to Green Bay was because of Jordan Love. And if you'll recall, when Aaron Rodgers had his whole like coming to Jesus and letting people know about how he's not really happy with the organization, he literally said that, hey, Green Bay is not a vacation spot. And the truth is people come here to play with me. But unfortunately, you would notice that when free agents like Odell Beckham Jr. and other ones that had opportunities to come and take less money, they chose not to. These guys both had opportunities to get – I know Jacobs was said that he was being offered more money at other teams. but he decided to come to Green Bay because of Jordan Love. McKinney said the same thing too. McKinney even went back to the Giants and even asked them if they were willing to match. And they weren't.
Yeah.
But it just kind of shows you that, you have a guy like Jordan Love who's now bringing in talent and making people want to be here. And even David Bakhtiari, if you heard him on any of the radio shows and stuff like that, he had nothing but great things to say about Jordan. It was like, he's a real humble dude. He's a really good, solid dude. He never gets too high with the highs, never gets too low with the lows. And he really regrets that he didn't have an opportunity to play with him more. And, you talk about a guy who's like, 24, 25 years old. And, another guy who's like in his 30s talking about this young cat and showing his kind of leadership skills. And I don't know, I'm really enjoying the fact that you have two marquee free agents that came to Green Bay when, they had other options out there. But, hey, McKinney got paid. He got what he wanted, right?
Yeah, man.
But, I mean, he
got paid. Now he has the chance for a ring. Like, it doesn't get much better than that, baby.
I mean, Philly was in that too, and Philly was not too far off from what they were offering. And they have a team that is pretty solid as well too. So for us to kind of get the lean on that because of our quarterback, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, man, Love's better than Hurts,
Yeah. So and then we hey, nothing wrong with that. And look, the truth is we signed a lot of our guys. You know what I'm saying? We brought back Carrington Ballantyne, Corey Ballantyne, I loved him coming out. He was like a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. So he's not like any bum, right? And then they just re-signed Rochelle, who was another guy they got from the Rams. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing like what the hell we're gonna do in this draft, man. I can't wait.
Yeah. And so we had started that with talk about running backs. Yeah. And we did touch on a little bit of drama earlier. So I got to dig into this because I think it was the day after our show last week, right? Yeah. Right. We were because we were celebrating that we had signed Josh Jacobs last week, and we were pumped that we had Jacobs and Jones on our roster together for about an hour. And then we were bummed because Jones was released, I think, before our show. Yep. And then it was Tuesday, right? It was the next morning we woke up to see that he had signed with the Vikings. So while we're on the topic of running backs, I guess, let's dig into Aaron Jones drama for a moment. I am not looking forward to a purple and yellow sombrero.
I already saw it.
But does he finally stay healthy? What do you think, because I still love the guy, right? I still love Aaron Jones. No hard feelings. I understand his decision. He's at the point of his career, right? Like, running backs don't have guaranteed money. You don't know when your career is going to be over as a running back. And so he's like 29 right now, going to be turning 30 soon.
Yep. This December.
He
has the same birthday as Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to take the money right now at this point in his career, right? Because it could be, down in a year or two.
He probably knows that this is probably his big deal. I mean, Packers are offering him, from what I understand, after like our show, they weren't just asking for a 50% pay cut. They wouldn't even take like $4 million, which is he took a pay cut from 17 to 11, and they're trying to take him from 11 to 4 with incentives to bring him up to 6. But I mean, that's a pretty big cut for a guy that was one of the main reasons why we got into the playoffs. I mean, he was leading the league in rushing for those last 5 weeks. But the truth is I hated seeing him. I hated seeing his press conference with the Vikings. When he did the skull, he broke my heart. I literally wanted Al Pacino, Godfather 2, the kiss of death. I was just like, how could you? You broke my heart. But the truth is, like, I get it. Like, I get it. He's definitely a scorn lover, and he's like just really going over the top every time he sees his ex, right? But in his credit, Josh Jacobs was asked about him and was like, hey, you're going to be falling behind a guy like Aaron Jones. How do you feel about that? And he's like, you know what? Like, to be honest with you, I know Josh, I know Aaron from, we train together and stuff like that. And he's a legend around here. He goes, I'm not going to try to replace him. I'm just going to try to be me and do my thing. And someone clipped that. And then Aaron quote tweeted it and was like, hey, Josh, love you, bro. You're going to love it in Green Bay. It's an amazing place. And this is literally after him kind of like not. I wouldn't say he
Yeah.
ever shat on Green Bay, but he was kind of like just making commentary on some things that people were saying, right? But even at the end, his true feelings came out, and he was kind of like, "Hey, man, no, you're gonna be fine in Green Bay. They're gonna take care of you. You're gonna love it there." Because he knew he's probably still hurt. I guarantee you, he don't want to be in Minnesota. I mean, my man literally got a G tattooed on his leg. He got a green G tattooed on his leg. I mean,
he's going to carry the G in Minnesota. So
yes, and he's carrying a frick. You talk about carrying the G. That literally is carrying the G. Like I don't know what he can do. Like, and it's funny. Like you heard like Gutekunst's comments where he was just kind of like, "Oh, he's the heart and soul of our team." And I used to was thinking like, "Oh, that he's guaranteed to come back." I don't know. Aaron Nagler and a couple other guys were saying this too. Where like maybe Goody was saying that to force Aaron to take less money. But hey, man, you're the heart and soul of this team. If you really want to come back and keep it going, then you're going to take less. And I understand it. You know what? It's a business, and they had a market value for him for $6 million with incentives, and guess what? He got $7 million, or he got 6 plus 1 year of plus $1 million with incentives. So I'm with you though. NFL is not for long, especially for running backs, and the injuries that he had, hamstring related, man, they don't go away. And I don't wish anything. I don't wish any ill will on him. I hope he has a great year in Minnesota. I hate saying that, but I hope he does. I hope he doesn't do. I hope he has 20 carries for 0 yards against us, right? Like I don't want him to get hurt or anything. But the Packers have, for the most part, they've gotten out of these contracts. They've gotten out of players, unfortunately. A year right on the right money. You know what I'm saying? The only guy that I really feel like they could have probably kept and would have been okay was like maybe Jordy or Woodson, because they both had pretty productive years where they went to the They both went to the Raiders, which is kind of funny. But they both actually, Woodson still was an All-Pro that following year. But you're right though. I just think that I wish him nothing but the best. But man, that shit hurt. And I saw that he had a purple and yellow freaking sombrero, and I'm just like. Dude, this is a guy, Senior Cheesehead, who's like really famous on social media, and he goes to all the games, and he's always in the end zone when he gives like the sombrero to Aaron Jones, right? Yeah. Everyone's been wondering what the hell is going on with him. He can't health and wellness check on him because he's from El Paso. And he's a big Jones guy. I know he probably still ain't right. I wouldn't be either, man. I get it, man. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Absolutely. True North Packers fan here says, honestly, Vikings will overplay Jones and he will be out before week 5. I hope that's not what they do to him.
I hope not either. But you're right, though.
I hope I'm hoping that he goes there to share the carries, because I feel like that's kind of what they did to Dalvin Cook in Minnesota was they just overused him and they treated him like a piece of bubble gum, right? They just chewed the shit out of him until the flavor was gone, and they just spit him right out. I guess that's what most NFL teams probably do now. Really thinking about it, so
I mean, I hate to say it, like the running back position is that one where its value is not what it used to be. But Josh Jacobs did get the same money that Aaron Jones did at the same age 4 years ago. They literally almost exactly the identical same deal. 4 years, $48 million. I think Jacobs getting a little bit more, but it's like 14.8 this year. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like, you get a good running back, and they always say a dime a dozen, but it's true. Like, you get a guy like that can really like change the game. Like looking at Christian McCaffrey, and Josh Jacobs is probably one of the best receiving backs in the NFL. I feel like Aaron Jones was too. We just didn't use him that way, but the truth is I really do feel like he has an opportunity to like really flourish in Matt LaFleur's offense. And real quick, let's just tackle this real quick because someone's trying to tell. I 100% think that Jordan Love is going to be better than Purdy in 2024. Hell, he was better than him last year in the last 9 weeks of the season. He was the best quarterback in the league. I mean, I don't know, and that's with less talent. He doesn't have the best running back in the league. He didn't have a top 3 tight end. He didn't have 2 top number 1 receivers, even though Debo was banged up a little bit. I mean, and also having Kyle Shanahan as your offensive coordinator, in the sense your guy calling your plays. I mean, you had all of that going for you, and Purdy was what, top 5 maybe, and then Jordan Love was what, number 1 with less. So I'm just saying, he's going to be better. You could take that to the bank, dog.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get that out the way.
No, man, I feel you all the way because that Purdy conversation comes all the time. He is
Yeah.
not an elite quarterback, but
Yeah.
like I'm not the guy that's going to go say he's only a game manager. I personally think the verdict is still out. If I had to like make a decision, I mean, he's in a like what's between a game manager and elite? I don't know. Like what's the word
It's
we
a thin
use?
line, right? It's a thin line because
Yeah,
like
it seems like you're either really bad, you're a game manager, or you're elite. Like there's got to be more categories than those three, right?
I'm with you, man. I just think that an elite quarterback can play within and out of structure. Like
Yeah,
he can make things happen when the play calls it goes exactly the way it needs to, and then when things break down, he is the one that can get the ball down the field, right? But when it comes to like these game manager quarterbacks like Purdy, they need everything within structure. And when things break down, they can't perform, and that's been proven, right? That's why Pat
yeah,
Mahomes is what he is because he can do everything that he needs to do in and out of structure. That's just the way. Aaron Rodgers was definitely the same way too. Um, I mean, you could say that he hasn't caught a touchdown, but he has averaged 50 receptions for the last 3 seasons, 4 seasons. So I was like, that's okay though. I get it. There's always going to
all
be
right.
we're going to have all kinds of folks join this chat, which is fine by me. It's all good because when the season starts, a lot of folks get quiet real quick when shit starts hitting the fan. So
And Jacobs will catch one here this season. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could take this to the big too.
yeah, because I mean, like Jordan Love's going to lead the league in passing touchdowns. So I mean, there's going to be a lot to go around.
You got that bet in already, dog. I already got that in. I got that 2024 bet in already.
Yeah. All right. Since we got into a little bit of Vikings talk, here's a bit of Bears for us. Will the Bears trade Caleb Williams to the Steelers in 2028 or 2029? Oh man.
Look, I'll be honest with you. Like I don't even know if Caleb was gonna go there. Like I hear all this stuff, but like watch him. Like RG3 said it today. Like he's saying that Caleb should pull an Eli because he didn't want to go to San Diego, right? And he forced his way out of San Diego and ended up in the Giants. Yeah, I could see the same shit going down, dude. Like Caleb. I mean, that's why they got Keenan. That's why they got Jared Alvarez. They're trying to make themselves look as promising as possible to Caleb because Caleb could do that. He could force his way out and then make things really difficult for Ryan Poles. And what is he going to do then? So he could. I mean, he could. I mean, Shane Waldron is a terrible OC. I mean, if you heard what Jackson Smith and Jigba said about him, he couldn't even say he didn't even know how to say a kind thing about him that wasn't like some typical shit that you would get off Chat GPT. Like it was so bad, man. So hey, more power to him. More power to him, bro.
Well, I'm so excited for this draft, and one of the things that I think is just fun for Packers fans as well. Our last two drafts, Goody has hit, but it's fun every year watching the Bears like fumble their draft every year. And I think they have four picks this year. I think they have a total of 4 picks.
Unless they trade out. Yeah, they ain't got much, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and so we'll see. I mean, they obviously need a quarterback though now, right?
I mean, I forgot who's their backup right now. What's the quarterback?
I
don't even know who it is.
I see them. Watch them like go like Drake May pick one. Like right. Trubisky was a North Carolina kid, right? And I don't know, man.
Same thing. Yep. Drake May, same thing.
Yeah, I have.
You can't scout the helmet though, right? You can't scout the helmet.
Yeah,
I get you. Yeah.
I have more faith in Chicago ruining their draft than the Packers hitting their draft.
Same.
Like
100%.
I'm just like, yeah, we hit the draft. We do that once in a while, but it seems like the Bears are pretty consistent on messing theirs up.
Yeah.
But enough shade thrown at the Bears. Let's talk a little bit about that safety position, right? We touched on that earlier, right? Xavier McKinney kind of was playing the market. He's here. He's going to be that post safety, right? He's that guy that could possibly be out on that field every snap because we have like a rotation going. I'm sorry, I got some crazy sun action coming through the stained glass right now. But Xavier McKinney, man, I love that. He's a guy that's going to be out there seeing the defense as a whole the whole time. Every snap, rather than I was saying like a platoon of safeties out there. We're also been hearing some rumors to the grapevine about Micah Hyde making a Green Bay
Yeah,
return.
yeah, I saw that.
What are your feelings and thoughts about that? Does Micah Hyde have anything left in the tank, or
I think so. The thing is, his injuries were all like very much neck related. He had like a lot of shoulder neck injuries leaving Green Bay, and unfortunately, that kind of continued when he was in Buffalo. So if his physical checks out, I don't mind bringing him back in for a year. He could be a veteran presence in the backfield. He can play nickel. I mean, he played nickel for us before he went. He's your prototype. He's not big enough to play like strong safety in the box so much, but he definitely could play nickel. He could play free. And in a pinch, he could play outside too. But the truth is yeah, that's my big brother again, just talking shit. But like the truth is though, I love the idea of bringing back Hyde because he has a veteran presence to himself. He's a very very intelligent football player. He's an Iowa guy. Like he's just a guy that I wish we never had let go. You know what I'm saying? And if they can make that reunion happen again, that would be great. I know Julian Blackman was a guy that he's with the Colts. He's going to the Bills right now to get it, to get checked out. But he's another guy that we'd love to bring in. But let's say we don't backfill that. Let's say we don't get Hyde, right? I mean, the guys that are coming out in the draft this year. I mean, there's a lot of great ones. You know what I'm saying? I think Cooper DeJean would be like more of a he'd be like a safety / nickel / like hybrid linebacker. He'd play everywhere, right? But guys like Tyler Nubin out of Minnesota, I like him. His film looks great, but like his numbers when it comes to his pro day and his combine were not what you would normally typically see for the Packers. So that could be out. Cam Kitchens ran his 40 today in Miami, ran like a 4.56 and 4.57, which kind of averages out to about they want to say about 4.6. But when you look at his game tape, his range is amazing. And the thing is, people are saying, don't worry about the workouts because his film kind of goes over that. I mean, you look at McKinney, right? McKinney ran a 4.63 coming out of Alabama. And his typical RAS score is not something that the Packers would look into. So, there's a lot of guys that are there's some other dudes that are in this draft, like the kid out of Georgia, Bullard. You got Jalen Hicks out of Washington State. You got what the hell is the kid? Jalen Simpson out of Auburn. Some guys that you can really get anywhere in the draft between rounds 2 to 7, and you'll be fine. Like you'll still be able to kind of supplement that, right? So. And then Justin Simmons is still out there. Like I don't know if he's asking for too much money, but I thought he was a lock in Philly, and I don't know what's going to happen now. So what are you? Is there other than Hyde? Is there any other safeties you're looking at?
I'm thinking more draft. I think we got Rudy Ford still, right? That's a guy that can play snaps in certain times. I'm still not giving up on Anthony Johnson Jr., right? Safety, rookie out of Iowa State. And, I'm excited to see what he can do in year 2, right? We got him in the 6th or 7th round at one time. Some people thought he could go in the 4th or 5th. So he's a guy that I would like to see, see Anthony Johnson Jr. get a lot of preseason snaps and see if he can be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like where we're at. It's kind of thin. That's why I'm like, I wouldn't be opposed to, drafting 2 safeties. Getting one early, one later, and just rolling with it. I mean, Micah Hyde. Yes, please bring in Micah Hyde. Like if we bring in Hyde, like I'm excited about that. We can stay put. I feel like. Draft and that, I would still draft 2 safeties as well, even if we sign Micah Hyde, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's kind of like where I guess I'm at there. I feel like if McKinney's a 3-down guy, I don't feel it's not as urgent.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still like a cornerback during this draft sometime as well.
I don't care what we're doing right now. We're signing a lot of 1-year guys. I'm telling you, man, we could trade up for somebody. I mean, there's guys that are going to fall too, right? You know what I'm saying? This draft is going to be so heavy with offensive linemen, wide receivers, and quarterbacks that someone's going to fall. Like Quentin Mitchell might fall, right? I doubt it, but that'd be a dream come true. But cornerback is something where I feel like if Ja can get past his injuries and if he can really flourish in this scheme, which I think he can, then you got your lockdown corner right there, right? And
Yeah.
you don't know what you got with Stokes. I mean, you know what you got from his rookie year. Last year was the last 2 years have been a wash. So yeah, like that's your former first round pick right there, right? So it's I don't know, man. Like you said, like Carrington Valentine showed out great, and then Valentine has looked great too in the pinch. But man, you're right, dog. I really think like corner, linebacker, safety, or where you can really like double up in a sense, right?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about like edge or offensive line? I mean, I feel like last year we didn't take a
Okay.
line. Yeah, so like where you
Offensive line. I feel like I'd be comfortable if we went offensive line in the first round, to be honest
yeah,
with you.
same. It's not sexy, but it's necessary, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like, you're gonna win. You're gonna win in the trenches. I
Yeah.
know it's just really cliche, but there's the kid out of Duke that I like.
That's my dog. Yep.
Grafton, is that what it is?
Barton, right? Barton.
Bart,
Yeah,
yeah, Bart.
Graham
That's
Barton.
it.
Yeah, Graham Barton.
I like the Jordan Morgan kid out of U of A as well.
Yeah,
he's the
he's
kid,
good
right?
too.
He played tackle, but is an explosive athlete for his size, good lateral movement. He could play anywhere on the line, honestly. And that's where I like when the Packers do that personally, when they get a guy where they're like, well, he's gonna plug and place into the offensive line somewhere.
Yeah.
So so offensive line, right? It's got to be within our first 3 picks. So first or second round, I'd like to see an offensive lineman.
The talent is there too, man. The talent is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at one time, I was thinking of safety in the second round, but I think with the Xavier McKinney signing, I'm fine with us waiting into one of our third round picks with a safety.
Right.
That's where Cameron Kitchens is I think projected anyways.
Yep.
As for edge, like you're saying, Edgerrin Cooper, right?
Yeah.
He's a guy that can I like there. We could also dig into that mock draft.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, let's look at that because I think I did a little something there. This is not one where I just did it just to kind of change it up a little bit. So all right, so
there's your boy Graham Barton right there. Yeah.
Yeah, you said Graham Barton. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, the number one thing that any team should be doing is trying to protect your franchise, right? And if you're a franchise quarterback, you should do everything you can to protect them. And I feel like offensive line, we just lost Josh. Josh just went to the Carolina Panthers on a 1-year deal, right? And, David Bakhtiari, unless some reason his knee comes back to be 100% and the Packers could bring him back for another year, which I doubt, but you never know. Never say never. The truth is, we need some more depth on the interior line because I do not want to see Royce Newman anywhere starting on our I don't want it. So I went with Graham there, and then you said Edgerrin Cooper, and I'm with you, man. Like, we need more bodies at linebacker. Edgerrin Cooper tested extremely well, played in a good scheme, played in a good conference. And I feel like he's just nasty. I traded back a little bit in this one because I was able to get some picks. Chris Jenkins, you just bring him back a home, basically a legacy kid.
I really like that. Chris Jenkins pick.
I don't think you could ever get enough big guys, especially guys that move like him. I mean, he's 299 pounds and he moves like a freaking cat, and I love it. Javon Bullard is one of those dudes that like he plays safety, but he can play nickel too. And Ronaldo Green, I've been watching a lot of like highlights of him from Ben Fennell and from other guys like Dane Brugler. He tested out of this world, and he's just a shutdown corner. And I don't think you can. And basically, on the scheme that we're going to be running, we're going to be playing a lot of man press, vision break. You're going to have a lot of aggressiveness, so you're going to have your corners on an island, similar to like Steve Spagnuolo's defense. You need these kind of guys, right? Now, Christian Mahogany, I think that's a guy you would love. They can't stop talking about he looked amazing at the Senior Bowl. He could play every interior position, and he's also a Jeff Hafley guy. He just probably has the inside track on that, right? And I wasn't going to forget about running back Jalen Wright. To me, he's going to be the next Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. He just has that kind of talent, I think, and because the fact that running backs are not really valued in this draft because of so much other talent there is, I feel like we could steal away with him. Curtis Jacobs is he's a Penn State linebacker, dude. They breed linebackers, and they
do.
They test so well. And this kid out of Washington, I kind of went a little bit high on him, but this dude, this is another one who that's the guy you can get late. You can plug and play, and he's like a Pro Bowl player for 10 years, is what they've said. So, with him, I was just like, I've been hearing so much about him from guys like Brendan Rupp, who's a guy that I follow for a lot of my Packers stuff when it comes to just like, he doesn't unpack the Packers like players every day. He's like showing us a new article on some guys that he thinks the Packers would get, and he's one of them, right? Sione Vaki, he could play safety, and he's like a heat-seeking missile, and he's also plays running back. He did running back drills at Combine. So, like, so you may get a little bit of both there, which ain't a bad thing. These last two picks were just like, I was just shooting in the dark. I was like, quarterback to develop, right? And then Jalen Simpson, the dude I was talking about Auburn. They said could be a perfect complement to McKinney because he's like 5'10", he's 193 pounds. So he's a little bit on the smaller side, right? But like they say, he just plays with tenacity. His hair is on fire. Exactly what Hafley was saying. Like he kind of describes the kind of players that Hafley would want. Fast dude. He goes 100 miles an hour, and he's going to make mistakes, but he also comes from a good program, comes from a good conference. And that was like my thought process. I've been doing these mock drafts to find a way to get DeJean, Barton, and Cooper. I've yet to do that, but that was like my goal, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give up on that. But no, that was my thought process here with this one.
Yeah, I love the two offensive linemen there.
Mm-hmm.
First we're gonna be running the ball with Jacobs and Dillon. Just really patching up that interior line.
Yeah.
As both those guys can, you're gonna run between the tackles with those boys. The Vaki pick, that's like something. I didn't know he was doing running back drills. Mm-hmm. I'm curious though, it just like made me think, when's the last time the Packers had like a two-way player? When's the last time they had somebody?
Man, I haven't seen a two-way player in the NFL since Champ Bailey, man. Freaking time, man.
Like, but yeah, I mean, like today's like the modern would be like a snap here or there, right? We
like
saw
Keyshawn
Deion
Nixon.
Sanders,
like
Keyshawn
Nixon on offense
we've seen Sanders. Yeah, we've seen like cornerbacks come in and get like an end around, because they're just the fastest guy on the roster. I mean, even if we did something like that, it's just like I'm trying to remember what, like, if I'm trying to pull out a memory of a Packers defensive player just getting a short snap.
I just think it was Nixon.
Did BJ Raji? Did BJ Raji ever
Raji
at fullback or anything like that and try to plow forward?
Yeah, and then Julius Peppers was lined up as a linebacker, as a wide receiver against the Saints in 2014.
Okay.
We've had some here and there, like nothing too crazy, but like I really felt like they were going to do something with that Keyshawn Nixon package, man, because he was out in the backfield. I mean, he looked good. He got the first down, and man, he looked great. I was kind of surprised they didn't kind of go back to that. I always feel like when you're in these games where it's like win or go home, you should be pulling out every damn trick you got in the book. I don't care about trick plays. As long as they work, it don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, they were trying some corny stuff in the beginning of the season that wasn't working. Like that one play where like Jordan Love almost did like a damn split, and I just saw his knees just bend the wrong way. And I'm thinking like, what the fuck are they doing? They're going to hurt our man. And then it was just a terrible situation, but like they didn't. And then, they let it loose and they just kind of got on fire. But I'm with you, man. Like it would be cool to see. Like, even remember Jair had made comments about that. Like, hey, if they need me on offense, I'm willing to do it. So, oh, no. I don't need him on offense. I mean, I need his back right. I need his shoulder right.
Absolutely. I was going to say, man, like, God, get yourself right. And Now, with the Bullard pick there, and Vaki and Simpson, like, to me, like you draft three safeties like that, you won't even need to sign Hyde, No,
I mean, not really.
You could just bring, hopefully a Bullard is a guy that just can come in and play a lot of snaps right away. And the other two guys are projects.
I'm telling you, those guys out of Georgia, man, the Lassiter and then Bullard and then freaking Tyke Smith. I mean, I've fallen in love with all three of them, and they all do everything that we want. And the sad thing is we're not going to get all three. And then the jacked up thing is every time I do one of these mock drafts, I always miss out on Max Bo Melton's brother, Max Melton. I always miss out on him, and I'm just killing myself. I'm like, there's just no way we're not leaving this draft without that man. I just don't see it. Like that guy is coming to Green Bay. I just feel like in my bones he's coming to Green Bay. If I could make a prop bet on some shit like that about like, no matter what, he's going to be drafted by Green Bay. I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah, then the linebacker there out of Penn State was Curtis
Yep.
Jacobs.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I love. I've been in love with Penn State linebackers since I was at LeVar Arrington.
Oh God.
I know his pro career didn't turn out as dynamic and
He
wild
had
as
some
we thought it
years.
was going to be. He had some solid years,
He had some
absolutely.
years, yeah.
But I mean, we thought he was going to come in and be like Lawrence Taylor or something like that. Is how it felt almost when he's coming out.
Jumping over center to sack the quarterback. Remember that shit?
Yeah, when you look at his college tape, man, I look up his college tape just for funsies sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I just need some LeVar Arrington, Nittany Lions highlight.
He was a demon, man. He was an absolute demon at Penn State. Like that dude was just like, there's a reason why he went second overall. And like I think Courtney Brown went first overall that year, right? But that guy, like, I mean, he was just, and I just felt like he had a real good rookie year, and then he had the motorcycle accident. He had some injuries, all kinds of stuff that kind of hit him. That hit shit the fan. But he was a talent, man. You talk about a size, speed freak who came from a good program. He was good. It just didn't kind of mature the way it should have, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. I want to be respectful of people's time, but before we go, one last little topic here.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of said something about it earlier. Was like, with plenty of cap space, why did the Packers stop spending money? Right.
Yep.
I know why. I have my thoughts. I want to hear yours first, though, Umar. Why they stopped spending?
I think that they made the signs they wanted to make, right? They filled the two big holes on safety and running back, especially with Jones leaving, right? And they probably knew that was going to happen. I feel like they're saving money because they could have easily restructured contracts for Jair, for Preston, and Gary, and got an additional $14 million. They chose not to, so they're not kicking the can down the road anymore. They're not trying to impact future caps, right? I think like they are pretty well aware that Jordan Love's extension is coming up in May. So they're going to have money for that. There'll be a little bit of an increase on his salary this year by like $4 million, but it won't be too big. But then after that, it's going to skyrocket, right? You still got Zach Tom that's coming up. He's going to get starting right tackle money, right? And then I'm trying to think. Kenny Clark is another one. The funny thing is Kenny Clark is making the same amount of money as Christian Wilkins, and he's younger than Wilkins. And Wilkins came in the league after Kenny Clark. Like, I really feel like Kenny Clark is like Benjamin Button or some shit. Like, he just doesn't get old, dude. Like, he came in the league when he was like 12, and he's been in the league now since 2016, and he's like now just turning 20 or something. It's insane, man. Like, I think he was 19, and he turned 20 when he got drafted by the Packers in 2016.
That's so wild.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he's 28 now. And I'm just
I think the running back, Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin.
Same thing. Yep, same thing.
He's only 20 years old because when he started his freshman year, I think we had a couple of injuries and Braylon Allen had to step in, and they're like, "Oh, in that running back's a true freshman, 17-year-old Braylon Allen." I was like sitting there looking at him. I'm like, that's a grown ass man right there.
The best is when JJ Watt put a picture of himself. He's like, "This is me at 17. What the hell is this shit, Allen?" I was like, shit. I definitely ain't put a picture of me at 17. Shit. Ain't none of us look like that, dude. I'll tell you that, dude.
Yeah, I had a mohawk and was trying to drum in a punk rock band, and so.
But yeah,
none of that anymore.
Man, I'm with you. Like those young talents, man. Like I said, the money I think is going to be going there. I think the money's going to be going to, Jordan and some other young talent that we have to extend to.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying, man. We got some big contracts floating, right? Yeah. And we're playing it smart. Like we're not going to overspend. We're not going to overreach. Mm-hmm. I think they're being really precise with their signings, right? Signing the guys, they're getting the guys they want on the deals they want, and they're not messing around, man.
Fiscally responsible.
Yes. Definitely need them to be fiscally responsible, but championship window's open. That's all I care about, man.
That's it. I mean,
it is open.
And the NFC is wide open, man. I mean, every team that is ahead of us right now, I mean, honestly, Lions, they fucking suck because they've been making some really good signings, and Brad Holmes isn't going away when it comes to the way he drafts. I see Minnesota trading up into probably trading with the Chargers and trying to get a quarterback. I think that's almost a given. I don't think they can sign Justin Jefferson unless they get one of these rookie quarterbacks. And I'm going to be surprised if he's probably saying, "Hey, you need to get this guy or that guy," right? Because he wants 30 plus a year. They supposedly offered him a contract, and he said no because there's questions about the quarterback position. I don't blame him because money is great, but if you're trying to make a legacy, you're trying to be Hall of Fame. That's what Devontae left Green Bay because he was hoping that he could pick that up with Derek Carr and the Raiders, and unfortunately that didn't happen, right? And I guarantee you, Adams is kicking himself now. But truth is you really want to make sure that you have a quarterback that's throwing you the ball. So I'm with you. Like this, I'm telling you, this draft this year is going to be crazy. I think we're going to see a lot of trades, and I'm looking forward to it. That's why all these mock drafts are fun, but we don't know what the hell is going to happen.
What you got me thinking about, like the Bears trading back with the Vikings. Do you think they would do something like that? Do you think two NFC North rivals would even imagine doing that? Could you see Caleb Williams ending up with the Vikings instead and throwing to Justin Jefferson? Does that make a difference? Like,
do you know what the Vikings would have to give up to move up? Like, they have 2 first-round picks, right? They would have to give up those 2 first-round picks, a second, a first next year, and probably more, and probably a player. Like, it'd be so much Minnesota would have to give up just to move up into that spot. And even then,
Walker all over again.
Yeah, it would be. I can't believe that. But like the fact is, like, Minnesota traded with us back in, what was it, 2022? When we tried to trade back into the first round, they wouldn't, right? But then they had the first pick in the second round, and they traded with us, and we had to give up like 2 first, second round picks to go up, right? And that's how we got Christian Watson, and we were trying to get Christian in the first round to get the 5th-year option, but Minnesota wouldn't let us do that because they're a bunch of bitches. But it's all good. We still got our guy. So it happens, but, you always pay a little bit more when you did train within division. And, I don't see Chicago and Minnesota. They could do it, but I don't see it. I can see Chicago, though, trading. If we get a win later on that Caleb is like, hey, man, I'm not doing this shit, don't be surprised if Washington trades up and tries to go to the first pick. Because there's a reason why they brought Cliff Kingsbury in. Like, Cliff Kingsbury is not a good offensive coordinator. He has not been a good offensive coordinator wherever he's been. He wasn't a good offensive coordinator in USC, but he is who Caleb is familiar with. So I could definitely see them trying to move up, get Caleb, and, now he's like in a supposed perfect situation.
Yeah. And like you said, it's going to be an interesting one. Hey, before we jump off, though, I know late to the party here was Jason, and he has a question. We'll answer quick. I am of the belief that in the coming weeks, Goody will be trading for a linebacker. Any thoughts as who he may target? So he's an intuitive feeling that we trade for a linebacker.
The guy I could think of off the top of my head is at Arizona Cardinals, and it's Zaven Collins. He's coming up on the 5th year of his contract. I don't know if he's extended yet. He was a former first-round pick. He has a RAS score that Green Bay likes. Green Bay did like him coming out of that draft that he was in, which is like 5 years ago. He plays in not in an attacking scheme because of what Gannon has, but he has played in an attacking scheme with Vance Joseph and shit. So that would be the one I would think. Zaven Collins for sure.
Yeah.
How about you?
For me, I'm just going because I'm like a homer. I'm like, I'm just going to go find the person that I like the most when I can't really think of who I would want.
Yeah.
So Leo Chanel from the Chiefs, right? He's a couple of rings. He's a young boy, right? Yeah. He's familiar, right? He is a Badger. That's just the way my brain works, man. I'm a big homer. But
he's athletic, man. He's
athletic. Yeah, man.
For his size and as fast as he runs, and he looked great in that Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. And Hafley, right? He would find a way to use that. Chanel's the type of guy that plays with his hair on fire. So that's who I would go with. And maybe now the more I think about him, it does make a little more sense.
I think so. Because the thing about this too, they have Nick Bolton over there who they really love, right? They just let go of Willie Gay Jr. He's now with the Saints. So Leo Chanel is in for a starting position, but you do that, you're gonna have to pay him. Green Bay probably knows if they trade a second round pick from him, which Leo Chanel was a second round pick, I think. So
Yeah.
like they'd be recouping their draft capital anyways, and you probably have a guy that could come in and play right next to Quay. The only thing is that Leo has never started, right? He hasn't been like the guy, the green dot. He's never started. So you do have that kind of going against him, but who knows? Maybe he seems like he was a smart dude at he was a smart dude at Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
like I don't like that. I think that's a hell of a lot better than what I was thinking. I'll tell you that. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
All right. Well, hey, that's our time here, Coast to Coast Packers, only on Game On Wisconsin. Thank you all for joining us again. I'm Bernie Bango, your West Coast Packer fan. I'll let you sign yourself off there. Yeah. And this is Coast to Coast Packers. Hey, we'll be back next week. Same time, same channel.
Yes, sir. All right, go Pack.
All right. Go Pack.